You need to understand what is behind maintenance, overview, and all of that. Devin is a full suite for that. Last year they bought this brand called Windsurf. If you came thinking that you were surfing, this is what I was speaking about. It's a tool that is an IDE that will allow you to use the models, use a lot of custom capabilities like code maps, like deep wiki, like orchestrating the Devin agents there. There are a lot of specific tools running AI models like SWE 1.6. All of these features are exclusive inside Windsurf together Devin, and we're going to see all of that today. Okay? I have a very special guest coming, Nader David. Who knows him for cognition? Yeah, he was very famous from Ivy Layer. Did a lot of very good events. Before that, a lot of very good versions. Before that, he was from Lens. So he's very Web3 aligned, very aligned with the idea of the IP Village as well. And now he's in cognition. What a coincidence. He joined the team and is doing a great job there. He's going to be presenting today in English as well. So for today's audience, and I'm going to have a little bit of time, and also they get started with the tool. And we're also going to have networking. So you build a lot of things in the past events. Today, I want to get to know all of you building what we're here for. And if you see things or do something interesting tonight, post about it. Matt is going to be announcing. We're going to have 5 coupons of $250. So more than $1,000 distributed today. Whoa! A lot of credits distributed for all of you building. So make sure to post. Nader is going to select the top 5 posts, maybe more if he likes it, and is going to distribute. We're having echo. He's going to distribute those coupon codes, okay, so that they can really get to build things. Let me see if he's joining the room already. Okay, not yet. He's going to join this room. We have this camera here to showcase all of you participating. And before that, I would invite all of you to go to those 2 websites. Devin, oops, speaking of him, no, just a note taker, no worries. So I want you to go to those 2 websites, devin.ai. It's going to be your main coding agent. This is going to be your buddy now. In Brazil, we call him Devinho. We even had an event last year in the Jockey Club in São Paulo where a big friend of us. And Windsurf. Windsurf.com. The difference is that Windsurf is going to be installed on your computer. It's going to run. So let's say if the model like blows up and delete your C drive, it's going to erase your computer. So it's running there like normal tools that we run. They all run there. In the computer, it's going to be very similar to VS Code. So you're going to feel the difference. And Devin runs 100% in the cloud. So when you ask something from Devin, maybe you should even try this, John. You can be in the beach, having some coconut water, playing some volleyball, doing something. You can send a message to Devin. He's going to understand your environment. He's going to understand your repositories, and he's going to take care of what you want. Okay. So yes, you can come to Devin and ask something quick, like build features, fix bugs, and all. But the idea is that you have the full environment there. So it's kind of like Cloud Code plus AWS. If they got together, had a baby, it would be called Devin, something like that. Like a lot of repositories on it, add-ons. So it's kind of like a multi-tool. You can have the front end, back end, and all of that without switching context. It's quite nice. And they do have very good harnesses for that. They have been building that since 2014. It was the first, no, 2024. Oh, not 14. 2024, on February 2024, was the AI agent released in the market. So they know what they are doing. They have been doing that for quite a while. Okay. So before Nader join us, we can go ahead and test out those two products, Windsurf and Devin. Windsurf, if you have your computers, you can download it right now, windsurf.com. And Devin, you can even do that from the phone if you want to create an account there. Okay, so let's get started there. Oh, and Nader is here. Let me switch my camera. Hello, hello, Nader. I was just ready for the presentation already. If you want to, if you need a couple minutes, let me know, okay?
Yeah, give me
No worries. No worries. Let me show everyone. And I'll keep talking while you can let me know already, okay? So let's go ahead. If you want to follow through Nader's presentation, you might create your ID on Devin. You can get a free plan. It's going to give you like a 2 weeks free trial that you can use it a lot. Like you can build whole applications in this free trial, and also get Windsurf. Windsurf.com/download. If you are in your computer, you should be able to install it on Windows, on Linux, on Mac. This one I'm using on Linux, so it should be pretty much compatible with everything that we're doing. Yeah, and we have Nader in the screen. Okay. And other people knew you here. A lot of crypto people, they knew you even from recognition. Some of them came because of you, you know?
That's good, that's good.
Yeah, famous guy. Set the camera correctly here. Okay. Man, I gotta tell you, this location is beautiful. You need to come to Florianópolis someday. They have the beach just there. You can listen from the from here the noise of the waves crashing on the shore.
I'm gonna come soon for sure. Sometime. Is it still warm, or is it get cold during the summer months of the United States?
Yeah, it's getting a little colder. But if you come November, December, you're going to get a great weather.
Nice. Okay, cool. I'm gonna try to come at least sometime soon.
You see it, yeah?
I've been to Brazil a lot, you know. So.
This is recorded. So
yeah, you gotta do it now. Wonderful. Okay. So any questions setting up Windsurf? On your computer, you can download Windsurf. In the browser, you can just create an account free. Be able to follow through Nader's presentation if you do so. Okay. Good. Go ahead and add captions here. Okay. You there in the back row, are you able to read the captions? Want me to make it bigger? Okay. Good. Wonderful. Yeah. Now that we have one big screen only for everyone, so maybe you want to like zoom in when presenting the ID, you know. Yes.
Yeah, I'll try to zoom in. Is it cool to get started?
Yes, as soon as you're ready.
All right. On screen here.
Yes, it's loaded. You see if you can it.
Okay, cool. I'm going to try to make this not too long. Try to fit as much in a short amount of time because I know watching a virtual presentation can get boring. So I'm going to try to make this as short and as exciting as possible. I'm going to do a quick slide overview and then I'm going to jump into some live demos. So the team I work with and the company I work with is called Cognition. And Cognition is responsible for two main developer platforms and tools, Windsurf and Devin. Cognition has a lot of customers. We have a lot of customers in Brazil. We have a lot of banks as customers. I think all the major banks use Cognition. A lot of car companies like Mercedes-Benz and I guess what is the Rivian and like a bunch of other companies use us. So we have quite a bit of adoption at this point. We're growing 50% month over month. And the reason that people like the platform is that we've been, when I say we, I'm like the royal we, because I've only really been working with them for 3 months. But the company has been building a developer platform for agentic coding for over 2 years. So they were kind of like either the first or one of the first agentic coding platforms. And I'm going to talk about like what they built in the past and what they have kind of recently introduced and kind of the differences between the different things that are out there. But like I mentioned, the two main products, so the two main apps are Devin and Windsurf. Devin has been traditionally a cloud platform, but we recently released the Devin CLI, which is a local CLI similar to Cloud Code. Windsurf is an IDE similar to something like Cursor, or I guess at this point something like Codex, and maybe even VS Code, but it's been built from the ground up for agentic coding in general. So again, like the three main surface areas would be cloud, CLI, and desktop app or IDE. And when would you use each? Well, I'll kind of touch on that really quickly. Most of the time when people are using Devin Cloud, they are working on like an existing code base that has essentially like a well-defined scope of features that you're kind of like working with or adding. And it works really well for asynchronous tasks. So if you say, I want to update this service, like version to this increased version, we want to bump a version number up. Let's say we're migrating from like React 16 to React 17 or something like that. We want to add this new backend feature. We want to update the documentation. You know, there's quite a bit of scope that you can work with from the cloud. And the reason that people really like this is that you can have as many parallel sessions all running at the same time, and they can be very long running. And you're not working with a local file system, so you don't have to worry about Git branching or Git work trees. Also, anyone in the company can actually spin off a cloud session because it's linear. Any tool within your company, because it actually has an API, you can essentially allow people to kick off sessions, kick off a session. So in the past, if you had like a link on your documentation, someone might have created a ticket, get down and check out a new branch and make this tiny change and then push the pull request up, and then it has to get reviewed and then it gets merged, right? It's quite a bit of work for like something pretty small. When you're working with Devin though, someone will just realize that there's a broken link and open Slack and then say, hey, Devin, fix this link. That's it. It just automatically kicks off a new test run, and then the pull request and everything is completed and then served back to you in Slack for you to just merge. So it's a really nice kind of like way of building. When you're working locally, the two things that we offer are the Devin CLI and Windsurf. The CLI and the both used for similar use cases. So if you need to look into the code and make like file changes within an individual like file, IDE like Windsurf, if you're strictly using the agent, then you might just use a CLI. So they kind of like are some people like the CLI, some people like the IDE. Windsurf has the ability to use pretty much any of the major models that are out there. So you can use OpenAI, you can use Anthropic with this, you can use, we have support for GLM, we have support for Kimiko 2.5. We also have a model S6, which is comparable to Opus 4.6, but it's a lot cheaper and a lot faster. Last version of 1.6, which is extremely fast. And I'll do a demo of Windsurf in just a moment. And beyond just the IDE and the agent, we also have a couple of interesting things that are built into Windsurf around code understanding. So I think code understanding is the thing that Windsurf offers that you don't really get anywhere else. So when you open your code base, you can actually have the entire whole code base in a really, really nice way, and allows you to have really, really high quality understanding for anything that's happening within the code. And I'm going to show you how that actually looks in practice in just a moment. And then the other thing is code maps. So code maps are essentially a visual and text-based explanation of different things that are happening within the code base. So you might open a file and not understand where all the touch points are for the authentication flow. So then you can open the code maps search bar or the code maps prompt. You just say, hey, explain how authentication works within this app. And then it'll actually build out the entire authentication flow and show you all the files and how the entire execution flow works. And then recently we released Windsurf 2.0, which is more of like an agent command center. It's kind of like a Kanban board for all of the different sessions that you're running. Because I think at this point, people are not just running individual sessions, they're running multiple sessions in parallel. And this gives you a nice overview of all the different sessions and allows you to organize them by functionality in something that we call spaces. So like I mentioned before, Devin is more of a cloud agent other than the CLI, which is a local agent. But the cloud agent experience is just much different than the local agent experience. When you're working with the cloud agent, it's asynchronous. Anyone can kick off a session. You have session visibility. I think that's one of the things that people really like within companies, because when a developer creates a new pull request, the only artifact that you end up getting for the most part in the old days was the pull request and the comment and the title of the pull request. You never saw what went into that pull request. But when you're working with cloud sessions, everything is essentially available to you in memory. And you can see the original prompt and all of the prompts that came after that, and the pull request, and all of the work that was done by the agent. All of that is encapsulated in that individual session. So this is really great for gathering information at the end of the day and creating a daily stand-up that's automated. It's also really great for if there was some issue that was introduced, you want to know how that issue was introduced and why it was introduced. You can actually find the exact session that created it and see all of the logic that went into creating that issue. So that's kind of one of the many things that people like about cloud agents. Also, you don't have to have your computer open. So you can just open you can be in the car, open your mobile device, open Slack and say, hey, fix this or add this feature, and then put your phone back in your pocket, and the agent is running in the cloud and everything is working. It's just more of a high quality experience for most tasks. Another feature that we have built, it's almost like its own separate product, is called Devin Review. And Devin Review is a specific agent built for code review. But it's not a general purpose agent that is built for code generation. It's actually specifically built to find bugs. And a lot of people say that Devin Review is their favorite review agent of everything that's out there. It's very high quality, it works really well, and it's less expensive than Claude Code's agent, review agent, by a lot. It's actually free for the next couple of days, but after we price it, it's still going to be much cheaper than Claude. So I think the best way to understand how this stuff works is to kind of demo it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. All right. Can everyone see this? Cool. Okay, cool. Yeah. So this is my personal website. And what I would like to do would be to add a new theme to my website, because right now I have light and dark mode. But I want to have a terminal type of style, I would say, theme for my portfolio website. So I can go into Devin, and this is the Devin website, and I can start a session here. I can also go into Slack and open and pick a session off from there. I can go into Linear, it doesn't really matter. But what ends up happening is when you create a session, the session shows up here in your session history, and then I'll be able to get visibility into that. So what I can say is add a hacker terminal theme to my portfolio website, and I can tag the website, or I can just not do that, and it'll actually understand by the language which repo to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and just hit enter there, and while that's running, I'll go back to this view that we were just at and show you kind of the different options that you have. So this is the we have fast mode, which is essentially kind of like if you were working with Opus or GPT fast. We have our main agent. We have 4.7 and 5.5 available if you want to use specifically OpenAI or Anthropic. And then we have a data analyst agent that is built specifically for doing data analysis. You can also choose to upload files. So if I have a screenshot of an app that I want to duplicate, or if I have a design system that I want to use, I can upload it there. I can also pass in a URL to a Figma design document or any type of Figma layout that I'd like to work with. And the Figma MCP will essentially read that and build it almost exactly to spec. It works really, really well. There's all types of stuff that you can do. One thing I like to do is send the session to Slack. So if I start it from here and I want to kind of have visibility in Slack, I can just say, send it to engineering or whatever workspace that I want to send it to. So this is just kind of like a bunch of different settings that you can work with here. Here, you might also ask, okay, so what code bases am I running against if I'm working in the cloud? Well, I'm working against all of my GitHub repos. So here you can kind of see a list of all of my GitHub repos. I just connected Devin to GitHub, and it has access to all of those. But what ends up happening is when you kick off a session, it has already kind of cloned your code base, and it has all your like environment variables and everything saved. It basically creates a new sandbox environment based on your checked out code base and runs against that sandbox, that isolated sandbox environment. So therefore, you're not worried about conflicting sessions running in parallel affecting each other. The artifact that you get at the end of the session is essentially a completed pull request along with everything that happened within that session. So here I can go in and I can see the session working. I can see what the agent is doing, and I can see that the pull request is being created or it's already created. I know that you all don't have a lot of. I'm trying to zoom in so you can see, but if I go ahead and open up this tab right here, I can actually see the diff and the work log. I can kind of like scrub through it. I can see the pull request. I can also open up desktop, and I can open up the IDE. And I can dive directly into the code base here and mess around with that. I'm going to wait for all this to complete, and then we'll dive in and look at what that looks like there. But if I want to go ahead and look at the pull request, I can just click right here. And this summary is kind of whack. I don't know why it looks like that. It should be just regular text. It looks like it's a header text. But anyway. The pull request here has added like a new theme and allowed me to add a toggle to it, so that all looks good. And Devin Review is running, and I can actually open this in Devin Review. I'd like to see that as well. And this is the review agent that's kind of running. Let's see here. Okay, so I look like I'm in this, I'm in the repo here. So if I wanted to actually test this out, I can actually run a local Python server. I forgot the command, so I'm gonna just like look this up. So I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna go ahead and run the server. And then I can go here to the desktop. Why is live unavailable? Let me try refreshing this. Well, let me try testing the app. Anyway, so I can actually click test the app and it will go ahead and open up the browser and run it and test it there. And then what we should be able to do would be to view the completed session. Okay, while that's running, I'm gonna open up my terminal and we're gonna take a look at the CLI. So here I am in my terminal, I can just type in Devin, update. Looks like I'm already updated this somewhere else. So what I can first look at are the models available. So if I run /model, you can see that we have 5.5, SW 1.6, Cloud Opus, all these different models. And then we also have something called adaptive, which is pretty inexpensive. And what we essentially do is have our own smart routing system that will route your prompt to the most efficient model for what you're trying to accomplish. And we'll try to balance cost and efficiency. And a lot of people think and have said that this is a very inexpensive and high quality way to kind of work with them. Because if you look at GPT 5.5, it's about 10 times more expensive than adaptive at the moment. So it's 50 cents for 1 million input tokens, and then it's $5 for 1 million input tokens on GPT. So that's just something to kind of think about. But since I like to, for right now, not 1.5 at the highest thinking and the highest speed. You can also do other things, so you can kind of show your session usage by doing /usage. And since we haven't done anything, there is no session usage there. You can see your context window usage. You can change your mode to be bypass, which is essentially YOLO mode, approve all, so you don't have to worry about approving anything. You can report a bug. You can actually also do something that's pretty cool. You can, well, we obviously have like plan mode, and we also have ask mode, which is essentially asking without making changes. But you can also work with the Devin cloud directly from the terminal. So what a lot of people do is they plan locally, and then once they're done with their plan, they'll hand off the session to the cloud, and then allow the cloud session to run while they're continuing to do work locally. The reason that that's valuable is that you can run 100 sessions in parallel in the cloud without affecting your local file system. And you don't have to worry about checking out different branches to work on things and merging those and all those things locally, which is always kind of a pain in the butt. So what I might want to do would be to hand off some type of feature that I would like. So I might say, when I prototype a new design system, Lithium, I want it to be as elegant and minimal as possible. And I might be in the wrong directory. I need to be in an actual directory. Sorry about that. Okay, let's try this again. So I'll go ahead and hand this off to the cloud, and this will go ahead and start the session, and then I can go there and I can see that this session is started. And then if I go back here, I can see now there's this new session is added, and I can continue working here on some other feature. And it's cool because you can send as many sessions as you want to the cloud while you're working locally, and it kind of like it's a nice back and forth because most people don't need one or the other; they need both. Once they get once they get used to working with the cloud and they get used to working with locally, it's actually nice to have both. So in this way, you kind of have both. So going back to this session that we ran earlier, I can now see that Devin has tested this out and clicked through it and created a video for me, and I can actually watch the video. So it created this new green hacker theme, and then it clicked on it to make sure that it actually worked. And you can see that the green hacker theme is now working fine, and it should also maybe try to test it in different ways, like refreshing it and stuff. That seems to work. The other thing that I still want to try out, okay, there we go. So I wanted to kind of like test this out on the desktop, but for some reason, live is not available. So let me just ask. Because what I would like to do would be to take over the desktop and actually, play around with it and test it out. So while that's running, I'm going to go to pull request. See that since we ran a test, it actually updated our pull request with images of the new updates. So if someone else is like curious to what this pull request does, they can just go here and they can see the screenshots. And obviously, they can also, like, it's already been deployed to Vercel, they can test it out. Now I can go ahead and merge this. And boom, you'll see that it should go live. So if I go to my website now, might give it a couple seconds to deploy. In a second, this should be live. I might actually need to update my Vercel settings because I think I've now signed out of my Vercel account into another one, and for some reason Vercel only allows you to sign into like one account for GitHub account, and it's kind of annoying. So anyway, but anyway, so if we go back here to sessions, you'll see that this one is marked as merged. And the interesting thing is, like, if a pull request is merged from a session, that doesn't mean the session is dead. I can come back here and I can say, wait, I actually don't like that. Remove it. And then it will have all the previous context of this session. So this session can live forever if you would like it to. And then you can continue working from that session, which is kind of cool. But I'm not going to do that for now. I'm just going to keep on doing that. A couple of, or I would say one other thing to touch on is something called schedules or automations. So what I can say is I want to schedule a Devin. And this will do whatever I would like it to on a schedule. So I can have this run every day at 4 o'clock in the morning, or I can have it just run once. I can have it run, anywhere, anytime. It's just like a cron job. So I can say, give me a daily stand-up. I just call this daily stand-up actually. And then in the actual playbook, I'll say, review all sessions from the past 24 hours and give me a summary in the form of a stand-up. I can schedule this to run every day at 4 o'clock in the morning. And then I can actually also send it to my product engineering Slack channel. And I can click save, and this will run at 4 o'clock in the morning. And let's go ahead and run this now and then test it out in just a moment. I'm going to come back to that. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and look at Windsurf. So that was Devin. I only have like 5 more minutes to kind of run over this because I don't want to take forever, but we're going to take a quick look at Windsurf. So if you ever used an IDE, this is probably familiar for you. It looks just like, it is a VS Code fork, so it's something like VS Code, it's something like Cursor. On the left-hand side, you have your file navigator, and we have a couple of things that I'll go over in just a moment, like code maps and DeepWiki as well. Here, you can kind of open up a file and edit the file. And on the right-hand side, you have your agent, panel for you to essentially run agents. So you can go here and you can highlight code, and then you can actually run a query against that or a prompt against the highlighted code. You can actually run a prompt directly within your code, or you can run a general prompt here in the Cascade, which is kind of like what the agent or Windsurf is called. It's called Cascade. So just like we talked before, I can say, because maybe I think app.tsx being, I don't know, what is this, like 10,000 lines of code is like too much. I'm gonna choose SWE 1.6, which is a perfect model for doing something like this. It's gonna be really fast. And I'm gonna just let SWE 1.6 do its thing. And then I might open up another session and I can start doing some other work here. Here I have the model chooser. You can choose adaptive mode, like in the CLI, which is essentially going to be a smart router. You can choose whatever model that you want. Or, I don't know why I'm not logged into Pro, but I should have Pro. And also, I think I logged out to do some testing in a different account. Another thing that we have is arena mode, which is a way to kind of like compare multiple models against each other to kind of see which model you like the best. So you can run like Opus against 5.5. You can also have 3 anonymous models run against each other, and you don't really know what the model is until you've chosen the winner. So it's kind of a fun thing to work with, but most people are just working within the agent picker, the model picker here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and close this for now. And I'm gonna go to app.tsx, and I'm gonna show you how we can work with DeepWiki. So with DeepWiki, you do Command Shift, and you're able to click on any function or any piece of code that has context and get deep understanding about it. So what does animate customs do? I don't know. So let's go ahead and click that. And looks like maybe this get ignored. Let me, oh yeah, because that's coming from a node module. Let's go ahead and find some code that we wrote. Let's see what get swipe action does. Get swipe action is a helper function that maps swipe gestures to specific UI actions. It gives you the params, what it returns, the usage, all types of stuff. And then you can also, I would say, kind of like add mention that code and run more prompts against it. So yeah, DeepWiki, you can essentially click on any piece of code that you've written or that's written within the app and get a deep understanding of that. It's very, very helpful for complex code bases, or if you're jumping into someone else's code base and you don't want to make a mistake because you're not sure what type of code that you're changing. And then the next thing is code maps. And code maps, like I mentioned before, essentially give you like a deep understanding of code execution. And a good usage of this is if you have a single piece of functionality that touches multiple files, you want to know how that code executes, like where does it enter and where does it complete. I like to use it for authentication systems because they're usually pretty complex, and also for, I would say, authentication and authorization in general, it's probably a good use case. So I asked, how does the authentication system work with Lithium? And it kind of has it broken down into 3 areas: authentication flow, API session management, and cookies. You can kind of drill down and see what's happening, and then you can actually jump directly into code by clicking on any of the highlighted code. And the last thing that I'll go over, so we're looking at right now is like the traditional mode, which is like an IDE mode, which you're probably used to. But what we've also added is this agent management system here by like swapping between these two. And what you can do here is you can manage multiple sessions. So you can see that we have this refactor that we just ran. It's showing up here as its own individual session. We have a group set of functionality under a single space called default dark mode, where we run multiple sessions against. And we have this new listen mode feature we're working on with multiple sessions. So you can kind of like group these together. So what I might do now is like take this feature, group it here, and then I'm going to rename this to random updates. And then we're just going to group all these random updates together. And then if I want to see all of these together, I can just open them up here. You'll see that we have, I can tab between them, or I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I can actually also do something like that, where I can just drag them around, or if I want to view that one down here, I can do that as well. So you can kind of like drag these around and do whatever you'd like with them. And the last thing that you can do here would be a Kanban view, where you click all sessions and you're able to see all of the sessions. So these are the list of sessions that are still running, which is only one at the moment because I just started that. You see 0 block, and we see that we have all of these that are ready. And then you can filter them up here by kind of like choosing the filter. I think that's about it. I think that, if you're looking for a tight feedback loop where you're making a lot of UI updates or a brand new prototype, you would use a local agent editor, either a CLI or an IDE. Once your application is live, then the majority of the work can probably go to a cloud agent because it'll just allow you to work a lot faster and with a lot less confusion and a lot less like roadblocks. And I think that's about it. So I'll go ahead and now hand it off to Matthias.
Well, that's great. Amazing presentation, the CLI, Devin, and Windsurf, all of that together. Would you have a few minutes for Q&A? Like how long do you have?
Oh yeah, I have plenty of time.
Oh, nice. So, guys, if you have any questions, matter about Cognition and Devin, Windsurf, the CLI, you might want to come here and ask. Maybe you want to ask where you are from your seat, and maybe you can listen. If not, I can repeat. If you want to ask Portuguese, I can translate to English as well if needed. Anyone want to start the question? What do you thought? Yeah.
I have a question. For what type of profile of professional you recommend to use? More like engineer, or if someone's like more by coding, wants to prototype something? How do you see that?
I would say for vibe coding and prototyping, the Devin CLI and Windsurf are probably the better tools. And for like software engineering teams and more like sophisticated projects, the Devin cloud is probably the better choice. We have like massive growth in Devin, and Windsurf is still growing, but not by as much. And like we're seeing, like the more that companies start using Devin, the more that they end up using Devin. Like so, if they started off not really using it, for a few months, like we saw stagnant growth, and then one day it just jumps by like 100% the next month, and then next month it jumps like 200%. So like once they start using the cloud stuff, it just seems to grow like wildfire, mainly because they're able to scale up the amount of work that they're doing with less like friction. when you're working against a local file system, you're just working with a lot more friction. You're dealing with branching and merging and like you're dealing with like I would say yeah, merge conflicts and rebasing and all these things. And also it's only accessible to the engineers that are like able to set up the environment and work with it. When you're working with the cloud agents, everyone in the company can contribute. And that doesn't mean you have like a designer making a huge feature change, but you might have a designer coming in and making a minor polish update that they wouldn't have had the ability to before. And you might have someone working in marketing go make an update on the website that they couldn't have done before. You know, so you end up seeing like this volume of updates that happen outside of just the pure engineering organization.
Any questions? Someone there in the back.
Other thing would be like long-running tasks. You know, like if you have something that, like for instance, Mercedes had this code that was very, very old that they had scoped out for 8 months of work to fix it, and they brought in Devin, and they were able to get it done in 8 days. But these 8 days sessions were like multiple day sessions. Like one session would run for like hours at a time, and you can't have a developer like sitting there like, what are you gonna do? Just like sit there and look at your computer for hours. No, they kicked off the session and then just let it run. And you know, you don't have to have a local machine there for that code to be updated.
You have a follow-up question?
Yeah, I'm curious. So yeah, you're very active on X, on your community. I'm curious about what kind of applications come up and being built on the platform that you are more different use cases, crazy things. Like I'm just curious to see like what people are doing with the tool.
I mean, people are just kind of like going into old industries and solutions that bring a lot more quality and value to that industry. And a lot of them are like these niche industries that you don't really think about, but you might all this like very, very old software running within that industry that hasn't really been like rethought because it just is a lot of work, right? So things that don't take a ton of red tape. So like people like to say, well, I'm going to go and rebuild like the medical, like some area in the medical field, but you realize that there's a lot of like, at least in the United States, I'm not sure. I'm sure there's like this everywhere there, but you have a lot of like red tape when it comes to compliance. So you kind of like think of areas that don't have a lot of compliance queries, but that have a lot of ability to disrupt. And then the other thing would be like just work that used to take like an insane amount of time that just a lot easier these days. And I think gaming is one area that you're kind of seeing a lot of experimentation in, because in the past it was just like so hard to build a game. It took years, and now you're seeing people build games in like days. So that's kind of cool. I don't think there's anything specific that you're seeing people build with Devin that can't be done with Cursor or Codex or these other tools. I think that the overall quality of the platform is what people really like there, beyond just the prototyping stage. Like, how do you continue maintaining this and being able to add a lot more work to that without scaling up your engineering hours?
Nice, thanks.
Building games with Devin can be a hot topic.
Yeah, arquitetura para mim no meu inglês não é tão bom, mas ele mencionou sobre
We have a question in Portuguese. I'll translate in English.
mais de 8 dias. Eu queria que ele articulasse um pouco sobre o tipo de estratégia, a metodologia que permite usar com essa tarefa e as invariantes decisões de tanto de escopo quanto da codebase para chegar nesse mais também falar um pouco como esses cases no que está usando mais autônomo, mais sites.
Okay. Now we have a very good question from Dallas. You mentioned, I guess it was Mercedes doing the 8 days. He's curious about how we able to keep those things working in any blockers, like any missing environments or issues or something like that? What was the workflow in place for that long without being interrupted? And he's asking about the kind of cases that you see companies like Nubank and now Devin to kind of like automate the creating this kind of setups that you mentioned.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, the interesting part about the cloud is that you have all of your same environment variables, configuration, and all these complexities that you might configure locally, all kind of configured within the platform. And that's a new session is kicked off, really like this sandbox for the current state of your code base, and it has access to all environment variables as long as you need it to, and test itself as it's running. And it doesn't really need, unless there's some like major, so like human intervention needed, as long as they're on a setup. And you know, like when you look at the prioritization of new features within companies, rarely do they prioritize things that are categorized as like, I would say, I don't know, like smell, like code smells, or tech debt. Let me say tech debt. So tech debt is one of those things that just kind of like gets left behind for the most part. In fact, you look at companies that have been around for 20, 30, 40 years, they have code made 30, 40 years ago that still sits around because when you try to prioritize like a new feature over something else, the tech debt is always prioritized last. So with these agentic tools that can just run for hours at a time, they can do both. So they can say, let's work on these new features, but let's also clean up this old tech debt. And we're going to kick off a session that we know is going to be pretty good. Like agents are pretty good at migrating code. So like if I want to migrate COBOL into Java, or I want to migrate Java into like Go, or whatever that migration looks like, agents are really good at that. But it's also a lot of time and a lot of complexity. So and then you have the engineer focus on something like more important at the same time, and then they can go back and check to make sure that everything still works. So I would say when you're asking like what people are using these for in these big corporations, it's actually a good mixture of site reliability engineering. It's a good mixture of debt cleanup and everything around the SDLC, like anything that's part of the software development lifecycle. Things like triaging bugs autonomously as they come in overnight. You can have your Sentry send those sessions directly, so those areas directly to Devin, and Devin can automatically create a pull request to fix that. So when the engineer wakes up in the morning, they don't have to like go and see everything that's happened. They have a fix ready. They just press the button after they reviewed it and it just fixes it, right? So there's a lot of stuff that you can automate around site reliability engineering and the SDLC that people are doing as well. So you have like those four main buckets that I would say. So it just accelerates the new features and it helps you be more reliable and clean up all of the old tech debt as well.
Quer que traduz ou?
Não,
Yeah, very good. Any other questions? Okay. Your name again?
Marcelo.
Very good question from Marcelo.
About Windsurf, what's like the top feature that it has? Like a feature that not only Windsurf has, but it does a really great job at Windsurf, other than Cloudflare or Cursor or any other tool.
The feature that Windsurf has that everyone likes over everything else?
Yeah.
Yeah. If compared
Yeah, I think the thing that stands out the most is code base understanding. And this is extremely important for a lot of people. Geek Wiki and code maps are really, really one of the most popular things in Windsurf. Once people start using them, they can't go back without them a lot of times. It's one of those things that is really, really, really helpful. Like if you've been a software engineer for longer than a year, then you kind of like really understand the value of code-based understanding. But with the volume of code that's being written now, it's almost impossible to keep up. So now you have these like massive code bases that are full of AI generated code, and you jump into one, you don't know what's going on. Even if someone touches a code base for a week and you come back to it, there's probably so much updates that have happened because of how fast people are shipping. It's hard to kind of get an understanding of that. So the code base understanding really, really stands out. A lot of people really like the Windsurf agent itself. They seem to value that a lot. A lot of people like our SWE 1.6 agent. So that kind of stands out as well. But and then the last thing would be like the integration with the cloud, and that's something I didn't touch on, but you can actually send sessions to Devin Cloud from Windsurf as well. So having the ability to work locally and also in the cloud is a valuable thing. But I think Cursor and some other teams are also offering that as well.
Very good. Any last questions? Let's wrap up tonight. Yep.
Another, do you have any recommendations for front-end testing automations? Because what we have seen in our team is that, okay, now we can produce 10 times more code, but we can't review at the same things. So we have features like now we have like PRs opening for like 2 weeks that we don't have time enough to test and review. So what is your recommendations on that step? The review?
I mean, I touched on Devin Review for a moment. Devin Review, and not just Devin Review, let me just say this bucket of this category of review agents, they aren't just kind of like toys. They've actually reduced merge times by up to 90% for a lot of the teams that have started using them with Devin Review, and I'm assuming it's the same with these other review agents. So I would check out the category of review agents. I'm going to tell you to check out Devin Review because I work at Devin, but there's also other ones out there as well. And they reduce merge times a lot. Like I would say between like 60 to 90%, but we've seen up to 85, 90% quite often, meaning that, that pull request that's been sitting around for 2 weeks gets merged in 2 days, and you're able to kind of like ship a lot more code. And part of the review agent is this auto fix feature, which essentially will not only flag a bug, but will actually send a new session to fix that bug and then send an update and then kick off that loop again. And I think you saw the guy that created OpenCrawl today talk about he has a review agent that runs up to 5 loops for his pull requests. That's kind of exactly what we've been doing for months now. It's just built into the platform. You can just say, okay, automatically review all my pull requests, or you can choose the pull requests. Like if you're working on a close project, or if you're working on a project with like 1 million pull requests, you probably don't want that to kick off every time. But if you're working on something that has just whatever number of pull requests are coming in from your company, it's definitely not only affordable, but it's probably going to save you money because it's going to save you a lot of engineering hours.
Well, that's great. Anything to wrap up, Nader, before we finish tonight?
No, that's it. I mean, I've been talking for like an hour, so thank you for your patience. Yeah. Definitely check it out and let us know what you think. A lot of people really like the CLI. It's been built from the ground up in Rust. It's the same team that built Fig a few years ago. They got acquired by AWS. They built out the Amazon Web Services like suite of tooling around their CLI, and then they left to join Cognition to build our CLI. So it's built from the ground up in Rust. It's not a TypeScript or whatever. It's really, really fast, and it's really, really nice. And we're testing it against other harnesses over the next week. We don't know what the outcome is going to be, but we're hoping that we score pretty high, like with 5.5 and these others. So yeah, definitely check out the CLI. I think you'll like it.
Wonderful. You want people to post about the event tonight, right?
What's that?
We want people to post about the event on socials tonight, right?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I'll post about it.
Yeah, and let's pick like the 5 most trending posts and give them some good coupon codes, maybe.
Yeah, let's do. I think we chatted. Let's do $250 for each of the winners.
$150. That's great. We can use Devin basically the whole lifetime, right? With this amount of money.
It depends on what you're building, but hopefully it'll be burnt up faster if you're building a lot and spending a lot of time like creating cool stuff.
Good, that's great. Let me show you here, everyone in the room. We have a lot of people in the back as well. This place is beautiful. So huge round of applause. Thank you.
Amazing. I'll be down in Brazil in the next few months. I'd love to hang out.
Okay, when you come, let us know.
Thank you.
Nader. Thank you
Bye,
very much.
everyone.
Okay, so this was the presentation. Let me turn my mic again. See, okay. Checking if it's working.
It should be working, right? Okay. Good. So, I propose that now we have some fun with it. What do you think? Show me some problems, some issues. I'm going to show like code maps and I'll highlight those features. And to prove that we can handle anything that you throw at it, I'm not going to prepare any kind of preset project. I'm going to listen live from the crowd. You guys tell me what you want to create, a game, a website, whatever. I'm going to ask AI to create, and let's see how it goes. I'm going to create a new folder in my computer to start with. And whenever you're ready, shoot me a suggestion. Let's make a game or something like that, or let's make a website. You are all quiet today, right? Tonight. Well, suggestions. I should come in a bike. Let's play a game, something like that. So you're more. Should they start calling out people? Okay, I'll volunteer someone. Okay, thank you. You saved someone from being volunteered.
Create a cloud interface clone.
Cloud interface. Okay, so like Nader was explaining, this looks. If I close this thing, it looks exactly like VS Code, right? And other IDEs and all, because it is a fork from VS Code. Everything that you use in VS Code, you can use inside here. And then you open this left tab, that would be the cascade, the agent, and then you can ask for it to code for you. So first unique feature of Windsurf, you can use this model. It is not the smartest model in the world. It's kind of like top 100 or so, but it's really, really fast. Like 1,000 tokens per second fast. Do you know how many tokens usually your coding agent would produce? 80 to 120, 160. So it's kind of 10 times faster. And I can generate something very quickly. What are you asking again?
Yeah, I'm asking to create a clone of the cloud interface. So we want basically the same features with the cloud running parallel agents. I think that the cloud parallel agents would be nice.
CLI or would be cloud, like a cloud?
Cloud, like a web app.
Cloud web app for parallel agents. So create a clone for the cloud web app for parallel agents, something like that.
No, cloud, the Devin cloud, the Devin cloud app.
Devin Cloud.
The Dev running in the cloud, you know, the web app for Devin. You can run Devin in the CLI or in the cloud.
Oh yeah, you mean this interface?
Yeah.
Okay, I see. I see. So create a clone of Devin Cloud web interface. I see what you're saying, like that. Yeah, it's pretty simple. But I guess you're going to create it, right? Clone Devin Cloud web interface. And since we are using this SWE 1.6, it's going to go crazy fast. It's only going to stop when running commands, let's say fetching the web. So I'm going to allow all requests. It's going to fetch the web, fetch the HTML to copy things. The bottleneck is running things in the terminal. So let's say installing dependencies, starting web servers, and all. This will be somewhat slow, but everything else that is generating code should be super fast. Look, all of that was generating in a few seconds. If you blink, you lose it all. This is SWE 1.6. It's really, really fast. It's not much of a secret. It's like a model built, a custom build to be run in the, how's it called again? LPUs of Cerebras. So it can do a pretty good job on generating tokens fast. And also it is quite intelligent. It's as intelligent as the last version, I guess, Cloud Opus 3.5 or something, like the one we used last year. Okay, so it is installing. It is available for free, like not the fast mode, the normal mode is available for free. So if you want to code 24/7 with it, you can. You can just keep coding like forever with it. Imagine if you had free Cloud 3.5 last year, you would like it, right? Now you have it. Okay. Like I said, it's only installing when I have common, but before that, like it finished 7 tasks in less than 20 seconds or so on creating code. Okay. This is the code generation feature. While it is installing, let me show another feature. Let me show, for example, page.txt. Let me see if I get a TypeScript file, for example, utils. Okay. Good. So, Deep Wiki. Have you ever went to a code base and found it without any kind of documentation? Never happened, right? You go to, there are no unit tests, there are no documentation. The last dev that told you that code base left the company 1 year ago, and you're just clueless on what things would do. This is where this feature from Windsurf can excel. You could ask things in other IDEs as well, of course, but when you come here, so this is the feature. Just Control-Shift or Command-Shift and click. When you come here in your code and you ask, what the is TW merge? Then you can just click, and Devin or Windsurf is going to evaluate the code for you, and is going to explain, oh, this function is actually a utility function for merging Tailwind classes. It's defined like this, it's used like this, and now it's like you had the ghost of the fallen developer there explaining you the code as you are chatting with it. You know, it's magical. Oh my God, if I had that like 10 years ago. For example, handle send. Handle send what? There is no documentation here. No one is explaining what handle send is. I would need to read the function and try to get a sense of what it's doing. So if I'm tasked to solve a bug or issue in this code, I have no idea. I can just click on it, Control-Shift click. This is not going to, it's not IntelliSense. It's not going to read the documentation. This is a variable that I created. Or actually the AI created, but I'm taking credits for it. So the AI is going to figure out what this function is doing. Handle send is a local event handle within the chat panel, and it manages the state updates for sending a user message. Okay, how to use that? You can use it like this and like that. Notes. The response is currently a hard-coded string. Okay, interesting. I need to fix that later. All of that was created on the fly by the AI model, explaining you how to code things. If you go to Cursor or other tools, you can also ask that, but it's not that convenient. It's not that contextual, you know. So it's kind of nice to have that in the left side. Okay. And while we were chatting about this, the AI finished running the whole stuff. Questions up to this point on Deep Wiki? Yeah.
So if you close the header and open it again and go to the same variable, it will generate, the model will generate the documentation, will regenerate the documentation, or?
Yeah, I don't know if they use cache for that. Maybe they use, but yes, it would regenerate again. Maybe getting from a cache or no, but that's the idea. And you can pick any, for example, a set timeout, for example, is going to pick from the documentation, but assisted message is something that some other dev created. Usually the line 42 is where all the problems happen, so you can ask this bug thing without having the documentation there. Okay, had a question?
Does it also work with sub-agents working in parallel at the same time?
Yeah, you can defer things to cloud. Don't know if you guys got that from the explanation. When you are working here in your computer, you can only merge so many files and now, and then if you want to work with something else, you need to stash your changes and pick other things, right? With the integration of Devin and Windsurf here in the agents, you can defer things to the cloud. Like, fix this bug. I'm still working the bugged version. The cloud agent is working on fixing that. You finish your feature, they finish the bug fix there, and then you merge. So it's not only tied to your local system. It's like you would have a team of people working for you.
Yeah, but on the local system, does it work in parallel, the same task?
It can, but then it can get messy, you know? One agent is changing that file, the other agent is changing the same file. They kind of solve that with different work trees, yes. But it's always messy to merge things in your own work trees, you know?
So if we defer to the cloud, can we get the session back to our device?
Yeah, usually creates a pull request, and then you use Git to merge, and then you have it in your device.
But we lose the history of the session. So with the pull request, we just get the code.
Yeah, if you want to keep working on that, then you don't close the pull request. You can open the session on Devin. And all of those sessions, I don't have an example here now, but you could enter them here in that in this window. For example, this one, create a repository form. I did 1 hour ago. It wasn't Devin. I can pull it here and get the context in my code base. I don't have it in my computer, so it's saying cloud here. But if it was in my computer, I could. And then there are others that are in my computer. For example, if I have a car and I have a car washer 50 meters away, should I drive or go on foot? There was telling me to go on foot. The drive. So these sessions are able to be swapped, and I can go around those sessions. You just go back on the editor to see if it finished it. Yeah, it finished it. Let's see the result in a little while. We have more questions? Yeah.
Does the model SWE has agent calls, or does it have?
I don't know precisely the answer, but I know it has some internal thinking. I don't know if he has the omit the thinking tokens and all. I'm not that sure. Let me look here in the chat. Yeah, it has. So those thoughts here. So, but it's super fast. It's like in less than a split second, it starts thinking and finish thinking and go ahead. So it's good. If you have anxiety, this model is for you. You know, it is really, really quick. Before we look at the deployment, we can give a look at the code map. For example, generate the documentation on the chat panel. This is another thing that you can do with all the AIs, ask mode and all. But here they create a mermaid chart flow with the files and functions and all that you can chat with it. So it's kind of like a helper on navigating through the docs. you can see by this feature that cognition is not trying to replace the dev, but it's actually assuming that the dev is out there and helping the cognition, the understanding of the code. Because if it was all automated, this feature would be useless. So they are assuming that there is a dev out there. We just generated 10,000 of lines of code with AI. Now we need to understand what's going on. So let's see. Let's go on diagram view. And this is what we have. Okay, so the app starts at the input state in this function. And then it goes for onChange handle. And when we enter a key, it triggers something in this button. And then I can see the code where this is happening. So it's not like, oh my God, these guys are genius. It's just convenient. It is interesting to have this feature on your fingertips when you can't understand something, or AI created a lot of slop and you just want to organize how things are working to make sure that the specs are being the code is compliant to the specs that you gave, and then you can understand here in the flow. You can go to a step, let's say message processing and state updates, and then you can even ask why this flow and not something else. How do you handle race conditions? And the whole explanation is here. You see, so it's quite kind of your co-pilot. Not use that word in that mean. It's there, your sidekick, when you are understanding the code itself. It's there with you, like a guardian angel, code with you and watching you do all of these bugs, skipping code review and all of that without judging you. So this is the idea. Make sense? Let's go back to your question, and let's see if we can deploy this thing. Let's open a preview window. Like many other tools, it can preview the app inside an inline browser, in IDE browser, actually. I guess I have two of them running for some reason. We close that. And let's see. Yeah. this is the Devin interface that it created. It doesn't look anything like Devin at all. Like, compare this with that. Oh, exactly equal. I am Devin. Okay, it did a terrible job in replicating the Devin chat interface, cloud interface.
We'll have a chat in the left sidebar.
Yeah, it did a terrible job. Let me see. I'll help you with that. Let me start by analyzing requirements and creating a plan. Yeah. So the output, it's not that beautiful. Maybe we use a better model and then we get a better output. But the tool was there. The tool worked, and it completed the purpose of this development flow. Okay. Maybe we can even ask. You did a terrible job. This is not looking like Devin Cloud app. I put here the ask mode. So it's going to search online, it's going to figure out, and it's going to say, you are absolutely right. And it's very, very fast. Look at that. I can't even follow what it's doing. Okay. Yeah. I'm having difficulty finding clear visual reference to the actual Devin Cloud Web App interface to web search. To redesign the interface properly, I need more specific information. Okay, that's fair. It's not like a vision model, can take prints and all. Okay. So that's Windsurf, your topic, right? If we go to Devin, now they explain a lot of that. It is cloud, the same computer that is running the code, it is also generating the AI. So I don't know if you saw, it can generate a video for you. It can actually film itself implementing a feature, and it can auto test itself. Don't know, have you ever implemented Playwright or Puppeteer or these kind of things where you want to automate the test if a logging flow works or if a form works and all? You need to set it up. Pick the div and then create a TypeScript test for testing that everything. You create a lot of tests yourself when doing that manually. They created a model that uses compute use, clicking on things, pressing buttons, plus computer vision to take print screens and film things to show that the things were working, like AI, agentic Puppeteer or something like that, which is super cool. It can just make a video of that. For example, a couple weeks ago, I did this website comparing OpenClaw and Hermes. We're speaking about that using agents. Let me wake this up and ask something. Create new page for comparing implementation examples of each. I'm going to defer this task for Devin. Devin is kind of superior than Windsurf on that because Devin can ask other agents to work for himself. When using Windsurf, you are tied to one session at a time when you're chatting with it. Devin can recruit other Devins to work for you. Let's say a task branches on 3 subtasks, and each of those branches into 2, 3, 4, 5, all these subtasks. At the end, you have an army of agents work for you, and then they come back with the result later, a pull request. So here I have just one setting up the environment. So it's going to spin up this repository that is here in the machine. If we want, we can even see what is inside the machine. Like we can have like a shell, an IDE.
Agents, like you said, it's split in multiple sub-agents.
It can.
That process?
Yeah, in the sessions, they would spin up the sessions. You can interrupt it at any time. It's async. You don't need to wait for it to end. You can chat with it while it's working. Okay. We love when people do that to us, right? We're implementing a feature and people are chatting about other things that are not regarding the feature. Devin can handle that. You can chat with it. So there are a lot of Devins working in parallel. You can chat with them. They can coordinate when you are asking something else. So it's really cool. And what was showing here is that you have access to the machine. This is like a AWS instance. You can host like Minecraft here and play it like Java. It's an instance. You can like host things there. It's not good for hosting things on production, of course, but it's really convenient when your agent has the files and the CLI working on the things that you ask itself. It's kind of reception of the environment itself. So this enables the agent to actually code the things here. We can see it using the application, clicking through, creating the environment and all. Right now it's coding, so it has the tasks. This is normal, you're used to that. But at the end, it's going to test the new feature, the new page, navigate to it, take screenshots, do the video, and then do a pull request at the end.
Which model is it using right now?
I guess it's a mixture of 4.7 or something like that.
Because when you start a new session, it only lets you choose like agent or 5.5 or 4.7. Like, what is this agent? What does it use?
There is a fast mode, I guess, if I recall. Let me take a new session. So agent would be like a mix, fast and good looking, good long or good looking, no, good long or horizon planning. The fast mode, more expensive. Then you have the GPT 5.5, like most expensive and very capable, and the 4.7. There, I'm just using the normal agent.
So that agent is like under the hood is kind of like routes to random models can be.
Yeah, I'm
same
quite
as-
yeah, I'm quite sure it's tied to 4.5 or something like that. Not 100% sure, but quite sure.
And if I have a pro subscription of Windsurf and Devin, so this will use the same like resource, like the same amount that I would.
Credits, yes. The daily usage, the monthly usage, and you can even buy extra credits if you want to go above your quota. Okay. So record a video. Going to record a video. I can ask you to test. I do have the URL here that I could go. It's also open in the browser. So I could even control the desktop and see what's doing that there. This is the website that I already had before. It should have a new page now. Implementation examples. Just created that. Okay. So it kind of researched out there what was there, and then I created some code snippets. Going back to Devin, it's look. This is what I wanted to show. Click it at the pixel 16431. Access knowledge, front-end development workflow. So it has the skills out there. It clicked at the pixel 540. Took a screenshot, it started recording, scroll down. So it is a model capable of compute use together with vision. It can read things, it can understand the position of the elements. It's able to automate the recording things. It's going to put that in the pull request. It's going to show that for us. So you understand where this is going. It's quite your coworker now. You can tag it on Slack. You can attach a task for it on Jira, on Linea, and ask Devin to go and do that. So it's almost going to be side by side with you doing the code. You, the developer, and your sidekick, Devin, spawning swarm of Devins when needed. Okay. Questions before it finishes? No questions? Good, good. We should have more finger food soon for us to wrap up and do some networking as well in the end. I would love to hear what you're building and what you thought of this. And if you have time, I see you have your phones in your hand at all, post about the event. The 5 top posts that another is more viral or more relevant for today's event is going to reach out and give 5 coupon codes, okay? For that to happen, tag at Devin, it works. And you don't need to tag me, just let me know. At Venture Miner would be the best way to represent. And follow, like my notifications, I can follow your post. Any post, 5 training posts, I have 200 in credits on Devin. So you can use it the whole month or maybe for a lot of weeks, depending on your usage, without worrying with credits. And would apply for Devin and Windsurf. The credits would be shared, okay? Augusto is a must. You need to post, okay?
I did already.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there are 4 tickets left. Just kidding. Everyone's in the game. Okay. So coming back to the explanation, it is finishing the recording, and here it is. 6 tests. It tested 6 things to see if it was working, if the page was working correctly and all. And then you can play. In Brazil, we call it matar a cobra e mostrar o pau. You show that you did the thing that you are claiming to do. So this is the video. So it's scrolling down. It should display the main comparison page with all sections. That's correct. It should navigate to implementation examples via CTA button. Guys, we did not ask it to test those things. It's intelligent enough to know that you have these features. It should copy the code when clicking there. So it's going to click and see if it copies. It should navigate back to comparison page via back button. So it auto created a few test cases for itself. I don't know the gender of Devin. It also created the test cases for itself. Went there, took a video of the compliance of those test cases. And if something went wrong, let's say he clicks back and doesn't come back, they would automatically fix it. That's quite awesome when you do this kind of implementations without needing to code them yourself. Okay. So that would be the gist of it, answering that question of what are the main unique features. Those are all very convenient little implementations that can make the life of a programmer very easy, very it can make your work way more enjoyable than going through all of these bugs. Okay. So yeah, 9 p.m. basically this is it. I hope you all enjoyed the event. I would invite all of you to take a picture before we wrap up. And we're going to have some finger food here. We're going to mingle around, do some networking. Don't forget to post about the event, tag Cognition and Devin, so that you can compete for the $250 coupons, 5 coupons for the 5 best posts. Okay?
When will be the decision?
I don't know yet. Maybe by tomorrow. Nader is going to let me know.
With the AI.
Yeah, probably. It's going to scroll. But I'll give the input because I need to tell him which ones are from Florianópolis and not like random people tagging around the world, right? So count on me for that. And let me put the background again. Here it is. Okay. So that's it. Let's take a picture. Let's have some more finger food, and let's chat about what you're building tonight. Okay, we should like close the house by 9:45 something. Before that, we have some delicious food to go through. Okay, thank you, everyone. You want to take a picture from here, like everyone together? You can make a row here, like we did yesterday. Hey guys, we're going to take a picture, everyone together. You guys want to take a picture? Come, everyone. Curtiu?
Amanhã eu vou postar as chopeiras lá da famosa aula, que é toda feita com isso. Hoje ela fudendo os créditos, tudo para implementar o Pix, não vai funcionar.
Agora você vai ganhar mais crédito.
One thing, update your Next.js version, it has many vulnerabilities.
Sorry?
Update your Next.js version, it has many vulnerabilities.
Yeah.
You went through this time during presentation, you're just like, well, let's see if I can break those guys. Yeah.
I look at this, like, when I saw the Next.js version, I was like, I know this is vulnerable. Because I know.
Yeah, the leaked version like a month ago, right? It has a lot of problems.
Not even that, because the middleware one would put any authentication, so that's fine, but it has a component.
Yeah. Hey guys, let's take a picture. Up.
Did you stop doing the fruit?
Good check no celular.
Did you stop the trees? And it took some more fruit?
Já. Quer tirar uma foto?
So when you arrived, I was like, oh my gosh, she's dead. Like, so much.
Pode ir.
Muito alto para de pessoa.
Pô. Vocês são os protagonistas. Eu já sei tudo da Cognition, vocês estão aprendendo. Aê!
Vem.
Bora lá.
Vem, Augusto. Deixa que o Gabs tira.
Aí todo mundo fala coxinha. Boa. Quero essas fotos, hein? Essa foto aí vai ganhar um cupom. Quem postar vai.
O cara com o computador na mão ainda. Não consegue jogar. Tem que postar que fica mais bonito na foto.
Pô, aí eu nunca vou ganhar nada se for isso.
O computador na mão, tá na foto, assim.
Não, esses caras dormem.
Já viu aquele passarinho do Homer Simpson que trabalha na usina, que é
Tipo isso.
O cara deixa o computador ligado e só fica legal esse negócio pra gente aprender um pouco mais sobre.
Bacana. E essas features, assim, o pessoal às vezes não se atenta, mas, cara, eu, pelo menos, quando eu uso outras ideias, eu sinto falta. Eu sei que tem outras coisas e tal, os modelos são fodas, mas eu sinto falta de não ter o Code Maps e o Deep Link ali do lado.
Pra aprender a codar, mano, aquilo é a melhor coisa.
E o cara começa a construir uma ferramenta
Sim. Às vezes tem um bug e, cara, tipo assim, você tá vibe codando, beleza, a IA tá fazendo, mas quando dá um bug, bate o desespero, você não faz ideia do que a IA fez. Tipo, beleza, vou ter que debugar 2 dias de slop agora, aí bate aquele desespero. O Code Map te salva, ele pelo menos mostra onde está indo, rapidinho você vai lá e acha.
Nossa, quando eu falei, pô, cara, é impressionante, as vírgulas fazem evoluindo.
O Code Map faz ser seu professor de código, sabe?
Eu escolhi, eu falei, mano, o melhor professor de código da história, mano. Vai lá, manda ela fazer, agora tá com que ele fez essa porra. Vai seguindo.
Essa é a ideia.
O jeito da parada, que é o mais importante.
Sim.
Hoje em dia,
escrever a linha de código virou um commodity. Agora o importante é saber qual linha de código precisa ser escrita. Aí que tá a inteligência.
Você consegue ter um local onde você armazena essas diretrizes, por exemplo, se eu quero trabalhar com algum pattern específico, ou se eu quero que a gente entenda que ele evolui para um pattern em determinado momento.
Sim.
Aí normalmente eu vou trabalhar nas wikis ali, como eu vou fazer isso? Porque hoje, como está a minha realidade? O meu time inteiro ele já usa Spec-Driven, então a gente trabalha com
STD, né?
stories e apps. E a gente já faz isso dentro do próprio story, porque a gente adaptou lá o BMAT, que é...
Boa.
Que é o que eles geram lá, as stories tem agentes especialistas com tarefas específicas que geram documentações específicas.
Sim.
Aí fica tudo documentado. Aí minha dor hoje é fazer isso ficar totalmente autônomo. Porque meu dev hoje fica só chamando a gente de comando. Daí eu quero colocar isso de forma mais autônoma.
Consegue. Tem as tasks, né, que você consegue colocar no Kanban. Isso daí, e tanto agendado, que é bacana, mas tem como colocar no Kanban. Você pode falar para o Devin qual tarefa que ele vai fazer primeiro, depois. Você consegue injetar contexto através de MCP, com os MCPs lá, e o próprio prompt. Você pode colar no prompt diretriz e ele mantém na história da sessão.
Pensando em autonomia, eu já tentei ir por esse caminho assim, deixar todo o código pré-gerado, só que eu perco que a NNF foi treinada para fazer, que é gerar token.
Sim.
Então, ao invés de gerar, ela vai estar escolhendo, mas vai confundir ela, porque
não,
um catálogo de funções prontas ali para ela só modificar parâmetro ou alguma coisa.
Não, então.
Por exemplo, se eu quero trabalhar ali, chega no ponto que eu tenho que aplicar Solid no projeto. Normalmente eu não começo um projeto do zero assim, mas eu aplicar Solid. Chegar nessas decisões assim que eu vejo. Aí ela não, se eu não tendenciar ela muito antes, por isso que tem as stories, as apps que eu fiz documentos de arquitetura, padrão de código, para ela conseguir executar. Aí o que eu estou querendo fazer é justamente automatizar todas essas decisões. São muitas decisões.
O que acontece no STD é que às vezes vai ter os próprios guardrails, quando, por exemplo, você vai reutilizar uma variável opa, tem um guardrail aqui falando solid, então single purpose, aqui eu não posso utilizar essa variável, entendeu? Isso aí carrega muito contexto também, você vai gastar muito mais token. O que eu costumo fazer é criar testes unitários no início e usar linter depois. Aí o linter geralmente resolve essas questões. Mas se você quiser fazer os guardrails lá também dá, só que você vai gastar muito token, né?
O que eu tô vendo assim é muito sentido, porque eu já entendi o fundamento básico, eu gostei bastante do blog dela, a gente encontrou isso semana passada, sobre como que eles estão construindo a agência do cloud, e aí eles vão instanciam a VM, eu vi você mostrou ali, que não é uma realidade que eu conseguiria reproduzir agora dentro do time, eu não tenho alguém tão experiente em IF, para fazer isso, então provavelmente eu vou estar direcionando o pessoal mais para esse lado. Mas justamente você colocar esse ambiente aí, é tudo infinito. Eu não troco e nem no OpenAI para ser um infinito.
Aí gasta pra caramba, exatamente. Tem que ver isso, né? Quantos tokens está gastando por tarefa. Aí que é que não pensa. Caralho. Deixa eu te mostrar uma coisa que é bem baratinho que eu faço, que pega 90% dos problemas. O Devin, ele abre por request, né? Então, por exemplo, ele abriu um pull request ali, do projeto que eu estava fazendo, tal. Aí tem esse pull request aqui. Em vez de passar tudo no prompt, eu uso algumas outras IAs que são free, por exemplo, o CodeRabbit e o Codo. Então, 90% dos casos, eles mesmos já conseguem pegar.